I was a person who used to worry incredibly about my health, and the big change is that when I heard there was a possibility that I had tuberculosis, I told the lady at the school, well, it's good to know. I want to know if I have it, because it's much, much better to know than not to know. And I talked to her about immunity. She's not doing it because she doesn't have a signal, and she makes a lot of excuses.
Go to Ross. What about the tuberculosis, Ross? Tell us about that.
Excuse me? What about?
Tuberculosis, consumption.
Okay, it happened at the school, at one of the schools where I teach. I do only 3 hours a week in that school, and one of the girls got tuberculosis. And at that point, Ufficio di Igiene, the hygiene service, came to the school to test all the people. And they did something on our arm. I don't know if you can see it. No, I don't think you can. Anyway, no, you can't see. Anyway, then a couple of days later, I went back to see this doctor to have this sort of thing they did on my arm measured, and she told me, you may be positive, which doesn't mean you have tuberculosis. It's like you are with a person who has the flu. You breathe in the virus, but it never develops. I want you to do other exams, though, because you have obstructive bronchitis and emphysema. So this morning I went to get more exams. I got X-rays and a blood test. By the way, while I was getting to the hospital, I had a car accident, and I can't tell you. Anyway, I called my brother, and he came to pick me up, and he was really nice because he brought me everywhere. We went back to the lady, and she told me, honestly, I'm not good enough, because I'm not a pneumologist, to tell you if in this X-ray there is something specific. So I want you to do another exam. Practically, I have this jar here, and I have to spit in the jar for 3 days and take it to the hospital to be examined. The thing is, when the principal of the school told us about this tuberculosis story, I tested if I had it, and I got no. Then when they told me it may be yes, it might be yes, we are not sure, I tested another question, and I tested, do I have these bacteria, tuberculosis bacterial dormant? And I got yes. This is the story.
Well, that's what I like about you, Ross. You always tell a story.
Yes.
It's always easy to understand what you're talking about. So, did you test positive? The thing I wasn't clear about is, on the medical test, did you test positive for the bacteria?
On the medical test, it's not sure. It's very difficult to be sure, because in the X-ray it shows some nodules in my lungs, but I don't have an earlier X-ray to confront with that one. So this doctor told me it's probably an old thing, but I'm not a pneumologist and I can't be sure. I have a friend, a pneumologist, and I'd like him to see it. In the meantime, I go and do these other tests, Okay, and then I asked her, doctor, tell me, because she's very, very nice, as a doctor and as a woman, do you think I have it? And she told me, honestly, I don't think so. But I don't know. I will know something more after these tests, and it will take a while to get the results. In the meantime, I'm testing. I have the bacteria of the tuberculosis dormant in my gravitational, spiral, and physical body.
And I test this right now. Have I cured it in those bodies?
Have I cured it in those bodies? No.
All right, kill the bacteria in each body right now.
Okay. Do I have the bacteria of tuberculosis in my gravitational body, dormant in my gravitational body? Again, no. My gravitational body is clear of the bacteria of tuberculosis. Do I have these bacteria of tuberculosis in my spiral body? Yes. I'm killing the bacteria of tuberculosis in my spiral body now. I feel relief. My spiral body is clear of bacteria of tuberculosis. Do I have it in my etheric body? No. My astral body? Emotional body? Mental body? My physical body? I get no in the physical body. Do I have it in any of my universal bodies? No. All my bodies are clear of the dormant bacteria of tuberculosis. Yes.
Do you feel any different at this moment than you did a few minutes ago?
I felt a difference when I removed it from my spiral body. I felt relief.
Okay. And is there an overall difference now, between now and then?
Now I'm back how I was before starting to remove it, to kill it.
And how is that?
Excuse me?
How is that?
The difference.
So do you feel good or bad?
Neither good nor bad. I felt good though when I removed it from my spiral body.
Well, see, to me, not good or not bad is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it's nice to just be, like, clear and empty. I don't know. Like, Greg, what do you feel about that?
I think your normal state is not, it's just a state. It's not good or bad.
Yeah.
A feeling like that is...
No, let's say normal.
Okay.
Call it normal, but, you know, then there's levels of normal. How you feel really connected and, you know. So you're good. Good to go.
Okay. I think this doctor was extra careful with me because I told her immediately that I had emphysema and chronic bronchitis. So she wants to be very, very sure because of my age and because of what I have. You know, she's very nice, extremely nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
And do you have any symptoms?
No.
No symptoms.
No, because I think the symptoms of tuberculosis are feeling very tired, feeling like your bones are broken. And the only thing that I have is that I am skinny. But I've been skinny for a while, before the story of this girl with tuberculosis started. And then anyway, what I think is better, if you have tuberculosis or anything else, it's better to know it, because if you know it, you can cure it. If you don't know it, it's a problem.
Sure. Well, test this.
Yeah.
Have I cured tuberculosis?
Have I cured tuberculosis? No.
Do I have tuberculosis?
Do I have tuberculosis? I don't know.
You know what? I can tell you something about that, but maybe I should tell you my story.
Okay.
Because you know how you were testing a little while ago that you had tuberculosis in your physical body?
Yeah.
It's all that, okay. And then you removed it, now you're testing that you have not cured tuberculosis and you don't have it. How can that be? Well, a long time ago, I did not test myself for diseases. And I had cured my herpes. I cured my herpes in '93, and this was like '96 or '97. It was in the fall, I remember that. And I was out at Franklin Mills, where Barb and I used to go to the movies, Barb. I was out in the parking lot back where we used to park, and it was a beautiful fall night in northern Philadelphia. Very balmy temperature, around 60 degrees, you know, and I had gone to the movies and it was really late at night and I was just walking around, and all of a sudden this idea popped into my head to test if I had diseases in my bodies that I had never shown any symptoms of, just diseases, you know. For example, the first thing I thought of was cancer. And I never thought I had, I'd never been diagnosed with cancer or had any symptoms of it or any reason to think I might have it. And I tested, do I have cancer in any of my bodies? And I got yes. And boy, did that scare me, because I realized, and I asked a few more questions. I asked, have I had this cancer more than a year, more than 10 years, more than 50 years, you know, and so on. And as it turned out, I brought it into this life. It was in my gravitational body from, you know, centuries probably, eons. It was just there. It had never been removed. And you know, when you have cancer in your spiral or gravitational body, you may never get cancer in that lifetime.
Yeah, sure.
And you get, you know, somebody shoots you and you die and you just take it into your next life. But it affects you every minute. These diseases have an effect on you every minute, on your thoughts and your actions and how you live, everything. They affect everything.
Of course.
And I took it out and I felt so different. I mean, I really felt a huge difference. And I was wandering around and I was like gloating, you know, about what I'd done for myself. I felt so good. And then I started asking about other diseases, and wouldn't you know it, I found tuberculosis in my gravitational and spiral bodies. And I don't know whatever prompted me to test for tuberculosis, because the idea that I had about it was a bacteria. And you know, to get it, you had to get the bacteria, you know?
Yes.
And I didn't realize that it was the susceptibility to the bacteria was, of course, caused by codes in the same bodies that cause everything else. And see, it's only because I cured my herpes that I could ever believe any of this stuff. You know? Had I not cured real medically incurable diseases that I actually had and had been diagnosed with by a doctor, never could I have expanded my consciousness to know this stuff.
Of course.
Even if I tested for it. And see, that's the exact problem somebody like Lori has. She never cured a medically incurable disease. So she's testing all this stuff and she's feeling great. But the truth is, Lori may not cure her cancer. She may die of it unless bloodroot works, you know, and she takes that and it kills it. Because how is she supposed to know in an hour that she can cure a medically incurable disease without ever having cured, like, the flu or something, something less menacing, something less threatening, something not life-threatening, you know, but incurable, like herpes or whatever. I have walked through the park and thanked God that I had herpes. If I had never gotten herpes, I'd be dead, because I was getting prostate problems in my 40s, and I'm 70. I cured them, but, you know, I would have ended up with prostate cancer. You know, Oshawa, the founder of Microbiotics, said that people who took a lot of LSD would develop prostate cancer.
Oh.
What about the women that took a lot of LSD?
I don't know what he said about that, but I would assume it would go to some yang organ down in the lower body around the first chakra. If, you know, if it was going to run true to form, because, but what he said about men was that it was, you know, it would cause prostate cancer. And what does Ram Dass have, by the way, Barb?
He just had a stroke. I don't know what else he has, but he had a stroke. So he can't, you know, he sort of lost some connections in his brain.
Ram Dass took the cancer codes out of all his bodies. He became spiritual. And he may not have been able to test the way we do, but he was able, we could cure him of the stroke tendencies too. But he was able to cure the cancer tendency because he took a lot of LSD when he was young. But his friend, Timothy Leary, died of prostate cancer. Jerry Garcia took a lot of LSD, prostate cancer. And so, and that's, I took a lot of LSD and I was headed for prostate cancer. And I never got it. See, Lori would have a lot better chance right now if she had discovered this. Like, Ross, you've been doing this about 5 years, right?
Yeah, maybe a little more. I don't remember well.
Well, had Lori discovered this 5 years ago, she might have a better chance now. I mean, not might, she would have. You know, suppose, like you, what was it like for you when you first discovered it?
To me?
Yeah.
I read it. I read the little booklet, and I started trying to test, and now I know that I tested immediately because I put my fingers like this, and I felt a tingle on the tip of my fingers, but very stupidly I thought it's because I closed a circuit, and that's why I feel a tingle. It was my signal. Anyway, I kept testing because at that point I wanted to succeed, and in the beginning I remember I tested with the pendulum, and I started working with the pathologies and the bodies. I stuck a piece of paper on the car with all the bodies and all the pathologies, and I started removing, and also when I took walks, I started removing what came to my mind. For example, I remember one morning I was walking, and I said, I'm now removing my birth trauma, and I felt wonderful. I had never felt like that in years. And so I thought, oh my God, this is real. And also when I removed anxiety, one night while I was driving to work, I felt a huge difference, really a huge difference. And that's why I decided I wanted to get a scholarship and surf the web to understand more. And I have to say, when I was on the mailing list, healing was really a big help to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've always had people who have been an enormous help to people.
Yes.
You know,
you know what made a big difference to me? Because in the beginning it was very complicated aside, okay, removing the pathologies from the bodies, that was quite simple, and even the immune dysfunctions. I bought the books, I read the books, the other stuff was a bit difficult. What it was really, really useful to me was to listen to the cure shows, because at that time we didn't have videos, but when I listened to the cure show, something changed, because it was like being with you and removing. And I remember a specific incident. One day I felt I was coming down with the flu, and I started removing it. And then I told myself, okay, why not go to the website, take a flu cure show, and do it along with them. And I did it. Well, believe it or not, my flu got so bad, I started vomiting, I had a terrible headache, I had to go to bed, and I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have to go to work. And I kept removing for about 2 hours, and then it went.
Did you, like,
Wow.
get a Herxheimer effect?
That's
I
great.
can't hear you, sorry, is it you, Vic?
Say that again, Vic?
I just said,
I was saying when she got the headache and the the rush, was that a Herxheimer effect from the removal, or?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because that's what it sounds like. Is when you're doing the removal and you start feeling ill, that's the toxins coming out of the body really fast.
Yes, I
And that's
think
known
you're
as
right.
and that's known as a Herxheimer effect.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good
And
thing.
then I was fine.
Yeah.
The change was very fast,
I also want to say that the cure shows really helped me too when I first started. I love the cure shows.
It's like on mute.
They were very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm so glad we did them. And I'm glad we could provide, like, personal experience for people.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's what people need, in this
Yes.
in this webinar. I was listening to this webinar,
Right.
and one of the people who were leading a webinar, he was saying that there are different kinds of products, and some products you can just look the product up and buy it. And then other products, you need to talk to a person. You know, you need somebody, a human being there who knows about it, to interact with about it. And that's the kind of thing that this is.
Yeah. Same with the healthy chocolate. I was wondering about like what, I don't know if you're done, but I was curious about what Vic was thinking about this, because I realized I've been hanging out with Vic a lot, you know, people around here, and there's so many things. I just noticed while we were talking that Tony Ann Pintabona was telling her friends, you know, not to get the flu shot and stuff. She's the woman who's on the video on our homepage. And like, I think sometimes people, like, there's a way we have to like communicate about what this is. That's, I don't know, how do we do it when there's so many other things out there? Like, I know because I hang out with Vic that he knows that there are certain devices that kill pathogens the same way we do it on our own. And maybe they don't stay out if you don't do Immunix also, but there seems like a way we have to remain complementary medicine. We have to find a way to discuss all these things and discuss what we do in a way that people get it.
Right. Yeah. When you're saying with the devices, I'm thinking a lot of people that, you know, do the removal, let's say for like pathologies or bacteria, and they see that it works. Their belief changes, and when their belief changes, maybe something spiritually changes.
Maybe, yeah. Well, sort of like you and me are in the same. Yeah, like how do you?
Yeah. Right.
Because I know from my experience, even though I've had a lot of devices and products and everything, that you know, basically, I mean, it is like the original lasting cure, you know. But you know, it doesn't mean you don't want to have some other good things in your life or other good stuff, or drink, you know, good water and all that kind of stuff. But like I was thinking about that woman last night, like how much of her condition, like what did she do to herself? Like how did she manifest that? Like how, like some of it can be very deep and karmic and spiral and everything else. And others, like some people, she might have absorbed a lot of toxins and like
bad vibrations from other people.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like we have to really work together to somehow let people understand how, like when Byron was saying, when you were saying that you were walking around that day and you tested that you had cancer. I mean, I get that too, but that's what this reminds me, that we're all connected. Like there's cancer out there, like there's viruses out there. And if I test, if I'm not feeling the best and I test, like, oh, I've got something in one of my higher bodies, it's like, it's natural, we're all connected. If someone in the next room has it, I probably have it in some level, unless I'm clearing it from my higher bodies. Or if the person I'm talking to has something, I'm probably catching it unless I keep my higher bodies clear. But that's not what, you know, a device does or a supplement does or anything else. So I think it's important we all know that we know the difference, especially someone like you, Vic, who's like, you're in a good position. You have some, you know, really good things that require someone to explain them usually.
Why don't we ask Vic? Why don't we ask Vic? Vic, what is Immunix?
Yeah.
To me, you mean what does Immunix mean to me, or what is it to me?
What is it? No, I don't want to know what it is to you. I want to know what it is. What is it?
I'm not going to say I think. It's just working with systems, physical systems, spiritual systems, you know, systems that we normally don't believe in.
Okay, so see, the problem is that Victor doesn't know what Immunix is.
That's right.
And,
a lot of people.
Okay, and which sort of, like, you know, what I was actually in the middle of saying, Barb, when you started talking, this is a very good illustration of it. What you happen to intuitively, I mean, I say I always love working with you, you know, because You are an intuitive person, and you intuitively just brought this to light. That this is the kind of thing, like let's say somebody comes to our web college, right? And they land on it. You know, most people who land on our web college, 80% of them, according to our statistics, they leave within 30 seconds. Greg, you were telling me that. Greg, you're there, right?
Yeah, I'm here. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, you were telling me that. So they leave within about 30 seconds. Now, there's another website that I'm familiar with. And the other website is, they have something on their website that says, it's a little box up in the upper right that says live chat. If you want to talk to somebody, you click the box. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes when you go on that website, see, because the software that website owns allows somebody sitting in a computer somewhere on this planet to see that you're there. So sometimes this little box comes up in the middle of the screen and it says, "Do you have a question? Ask me." And if you remember, this, I had started to tell you this story, the Nate story, last week. You know, I was telling you this alternate ending of the story. And if you remember, Nate is living in a spa. And I don't know if anybody, if this, how, you know, this is kind of a detail. And see, the story, of course, is all details. That's what it's all about. It's about the details, you know. But what I was telling you is that Nate is not paying any rent to live in this spa. He's traded with the people who own the spa. And what he does is he sits in the lobby for a couple of hours a day. And he helps people cure things if they want to learn. And you know, people who come to a spa, they come to cure things. So lots of people are, you know, will sit down and do something with Nate. And Nate has these two chairs and he's sitting in one of them and he just sits by the door and hangs out, does his tweeting and cures things and talks to his friends on his smartphone. But then somebody will come over and they'll say, "Oh, what is this?" And see, what I was saying is that Nate has a sign. It's one of these placards next to him. And it says, "Got something to cure? Sit down." Remember this? Boots, do you remember? Yeah. Boots, do you remember my saying that?
Yes, I do. Totally, yes.
Okay. And Ross remembers. So this was a little memorable detail, it looks like. A whole bunch of people remember this. And one of the things I was saying is most people do not sit down. They walk over and they stand there and they say, "What is this?" They do not sit down and say, "Okay, I want to cure something." And so when they come over and they stand there and they say, "What is this?" Nate looks up at them and he smiles and he says, "Want to cure something?" And the person says, "Well, I might have something," you know, or something like that they'll say. And he says, "Okay, sit down." He does not, in other words, answer their question. Want to know why? Barb, why do you think Nate doesn't answer their question?
Because he wants to teach them to answer their own questions.
Good point. But I'll tell you another reason that might be a little more immediate, which is that Nate simply has enough practice. You see, Nate spent like he spent like 7 months, or at the time he comes to the spa, it was about 7 months, and so about 8 months, you know, sending these really short tweets and helping people in really short order. And Nate never had any time because he was a stock clerk at Barnes & Noble. So he really never had time to get into long explanations and answering questions and all this rigmarole that people want to do. He just never did it. He opted out. Way at the beginning, he just opted out. He said, "No thanks." You know, it's like what Bootsy was saying. You know, she sits down, she shows people how to cure things. Most of them want her to cure them. You know, but still, at least she isn't answering their questions, right? That'd really take time, you know. So anyway, to get back to this thing I'm talking about, this is the same kind of thing as Nate's sign. It's this box that appears on the computer screen, and it says, if you want to talk, I'm here. And see the website that I'm talking about where they have this? It's a very technical website, and you really need to talk to somebody. I never would have gotten interested in this thing had I not had that, but since I have voice recognition, so I could just sit there and talk to the person. So of course I had questions, and I asked them, and that's what kept me involved. You know, and that led to the affiliate. You know how we share our donations with you? Like if somebody signs up for the web college, you can have a third of what they donate. And that came from me interacting with this guy on this website. So I did get a lot out of our interactions. I learned, you know, a lot from doing that with him. And they were very nice people who ran the website that I was talking to. I never actually ended up buying their product, but they were very open to me not buying it. They just wanted to help me, you know, they seemed to just want to help me understand what my options were, and I appreciated that. And so, Greg, to get back to you, what I was thinking is that someday, when there are enough of us, and, you know, somebody comes to our web college, just imagine, like, somebody coming to the home page, and they're going to leave. You know, they're looking around, and they go, oh, okay, I get it. And this little box comes up on the screen, and it says, would you like to talk to somebody about curing something?
Live operator standing by.
No, it doesn't say live operator standing by, but that was cute, I will have to say. But it says, you know, got something to cure? Yeah. Let's talk. You know, I've cured some things. I'm a volunteer, and I'm here for a couple of hours, and I can help you cure things, you know, if you want. You know, I can direct you. I know the site's confusing. You know, there's a lot here. So let's see if we can find the thing you need. You know?
Nice.
And I think if we ever did that, you'd get a lot more people following through and curing things. And of course, see, because we're made for this kind of approach. But of course, the only problem is that somebody would have to sit there. But let me tell you one other thing while I'm on this subject, okay? A long time ago, when we had our organization, Franny was with me from the beginning. Franny and I met in 1975. And I started doing my seminars in 1977, I guess it was, or 8. And basically what I did, my method, was I had an answering machine that gave the information. People could leave their number and I'd call them back. And that went on for years, and there was a point where Franny said, and she changed everything we did by doing this. I want you to know that Franny brought us into our modern world. She changed our history by doing this one lousy little thing. She said, from now on, somebody's going to answer the phone. And we started answering the phone instead of having people get the answering machine message. And the weird thing is, you know, Nate went back to an answering machine message. He decided that he just didn't have time, you know, with all the people who wanted reassurance and all this other stuff, that if they weren't actually curing anything, you know, if they were just there because they needed some like, you know, tender love and care or something, he didn't have time to do that. So he, you know, he has a message on his outgoing, on his smartphone that's similar to mine, which says, you know, when you go to the web college, get started, and then call me and I'll help you. Which is that's basically what it says. You know, if you haven't started yet, go to the web college and start, and then I'll help you. Because you'll need my help at that point. But anyway, Franny said we're going to answer the phone, and we started answering the phone, and we went from taking in like $40,000 a year to taking in almost $2 million. That's how far we went by answering the phone. We just answered the phone. It was a simple thing. Somebody once said that the difference between IBM and Microsoft was that at IBM they answer the phone.
Well, a lot like, think of Southwest Air. You love them because they have a person there answer the phone all the time.
That's right.
It helps you. They say, oh, I got all the time in the world.
Well, you know, this webinar I was listening to, he was saying that they use the phone as a branding device. Like they just talk endlessly to people. He said the longest call that one of their people had with a customer was 8 hours and 45 minutes.
My God.
Uh-huh. One call. Well, so I'd like to hear from you now what you have to say, all of you, about what you've heard so far.
Well, I think it would be a good idea to organize somehow things that a person can be available on the website to answer questions. We can take turns according to our availability, to our jobs, etc. But I think it makes a huge difference to talk to a person. It's better than to read something or watch a video, which is quite useful. But as a first approach, it would be very good to have a real person to welcome you and to be available for you.
Come on, guys. What do you
Yeah,
have
I
to
agree.
say?
Like when we first sort of had this idea about adding this website at all back in like 1997, or like my idea of it was always, you know, we're like a church, 24 hours where the doors are open, anybody can walk in, you know, sit and pray or do whatever. The priest will always be there or somebody's there. And so that's what was cool about a website. And even on our website, it says, you know, want to talk to a volunteer. So it makes it look like, you know, someone's sitting there right by the phone. Of course, Greg's very busy, so how can he answer all those calls? And I know that even I get lots of phone calls from people that I call them back, but just to you know, you find your favorite people and you want to just talk to them. Unless, you know, I was getting paid or something. Like we should be funded. We should be funded. That would be a perfect job for someone like me or Vic or someone like to sit there and answer the phone and help people. Just like to sit and hear something with them. And that's probably, I mean, to really fully realize, I think what we're doing is probably that's the way it would have to look. I think to have funding and have a staff and have, you know, the people exchange notes and, you know, have a system to record all these people who call and their numbers and call them back and see how they're doing, you know, like a regular, you know, like a company would. I think of all the people that call me and all the different phones I've had and where are their numbers and how do you keep track of all this stuff, like sort of like hard to keep track of you know, people had a little more extra help. Even that woman we talked to last night, if you follow up with her, she might turn into a real winner. If we don't, she'd probably just be another person that had an interesting evening, and that's the last we would hear from her. So that's my thing. Now, I would have never succeeded at this unless I had a lot of personal attention, which I did.
Me too.
I mean, you know, you're like me. I mean, you kind of reached out and got the personal attention and didn't stop till you got your result. But so that, you know, it takes two. But still, we would, if we made it more available to people to have some assistance. Plus, I know that even like Alejandro, people like that would probably move faster if they were helping other people too, because that's part of how this works. I know whenever I'm working with people, I get more immune myself. more skilled. But,
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what I have on my website. My primary website, I have a little applet on the right side where people could click and
call you?
chat real time, private or
That's nice.
public,
Yeah.
public group.
Or we could, give a free sample, or probably should have more meetings. We probably should have a class every night almost that people can call in on. But
What does the Care Drive use for the software? Is it like WordPress or?
I think we may have used it with Front Page, but
Oh, okay.
we just have. We have our phone numbers on there, some people's phone numbers, but
Yeah.
everybody's really busy. We have these meetings, but the meetings that on Monday, but noticed that a lot of people, call in and they hang up in the middle of it, or they call in once and nobody calls them back to see how they were doing or what they got or anything like that. There's no follow.
Yeah.
You have to kind of, in our old organization, when we moved from, being like 100,000 or 200,000 a year to being $1 million a year company, was we had enough staff where we would actually adopt people. Like we had a list of names, so we would say, who wants this person? Who wants that person? We would take these names and we would go, check on them and see how they're doing, or sort of nudge them to their next thing. But it was very organized. we weren't funded in those days. We had to make our money by, putting on our courses, but there was money, that was our full-time job. Most of us didn't have any other jobs besides jobs that kept the company going. But that was like a full-time effort. We'd have like 3 or 4 meetings a day with these lists, like, oh, how's so-and-so doing? How's so-and-so doing? We knew how, like all these people's names and exactly where they were at or where they were stuck, what was going on.
Well, like in a way, Lori is Poland, and we didn't register her, I guess. But
right,
I remember
we don't have that formula now. Like also we had those outlines. Remember, like at the end of the meeting last night, we didn't have like we didn't say, okay, would you like to speak to us again? When? Would you like to sign up for the web college right now? Okay, what, a month and a year, would you like a private session? We didn't give her much besides,
Right.
we're not structured that way.
But my point is that there are probably a lot of people out there that will call in. And I remember the best night I ever had.
There's an echo.
Yeah, I have to go over to the thing. Hold on a second.
Since Byard's taping it, I have to walk over here. The best night I ever had was, we used to call it dehoing. I can't remember what that means, but...
Deputy head of enrollment.
Head of enrollment.
Oh, okay. Well, I was sitting there, my father was there actually, he was visiting. And I decided that I was just going to manifest someone to call in and register. And the first call was, I don't know, it was a wrong number or something. And then the second one was somebody actually called in and just registered. And I remember everybody was screaming, and then my father ran over, after I got off the phone, my father ran over and rang the bell. He didn't even wait for me to ring the bell, he just rang the bell. And, but see, that's what I'm saying, is that our experience of people coming can be like that. Like, we labored too hard last night. She was a call-in, and we could just register her and let her do whatever she does.
Here, would you take this to Bird? You can hear me. Just leave the door open so you can hear me.
Okay.
There's something I want to say about the, getting the formula down for signing people up and registering people and all that. I got bad news for you. There isn't any formula, and it isn't even the way we should be thinking. Because you see,
Well, it's not the way we were thinking, that's why I was
that's right.
thinking,
And it's not the way we should. It's not the way we do, and it's not the way we should. Because I'll tell you why. If you have somebody who you know, is calling to, you know, sign up for a course that you're giving, like we used to do. It's very simple to just, you know, ask them, oh, you called to sign up, okay, and I'll get the formula down and we'll register you, here you go. But when somebody has bone cancer and they have to cure the bone cancer, you can't do that. You can't cure their bone cancer. If you could cure their bone cancer, then you could have a formula and register them for your cure. So,
yeah, but the thing.
So see, if you want to be a hands-on healer,
we're offering us.
If you want to be a hands-on healer, you just say, okay, well, I will do a healing on you later. It's $350, and let's get your payment here, and you can sign them up. But if they have to cure it,
yeah, but if we're going for cures, then we say to the person, okay, you had a nice free sample, like Fran said, maybe it was too long. You say, okay, so how was it for you? Did you get anything out of it? Did you cure anything? Would you like to pursue this? You think, you know, can you create your cure this way? You know, and if yes, then you follow up with them. If no, then you just say, well, then or you point them in the right direction, which is what we usually do. Like, okay, well, you know, the website's always there.
Which then leads us back to the kind of thing that we've been doing, you know? And the fact is, as we're talking about, you know, having people to interact with people who come to the website, that's our dream, that's our wish, that whenever somebody comes to this web college, that little box pops up and there's a person there that says, hey, I'll help you, I'll talk to you, you know. And
the real wish is that the website guides them, answers all their questions, and provides everything they need to say, wow, I want to do more of this. And then if they don't have that, then they can talk to a person who's available.
Well, what Ross was saying is that, if I understood you correctly, Ross, was that you're willing to volunteer some hours per week to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Now, how many?
To my job, and I could do it on Skype and not on the phone. Because I don't think there will be any people willing to turn to Italy.
Well, how many? Well, you see, you have to understand something, that the thing that they use at this company, they're in Slovenia or Slovakia or whatever it is. So they're in Europe. And they use a program, a computer program, that enables them to interact with people on a text. It's a live text chat. It's not a phone thing at all. And they also, it provides a transcript of everything they said so the person can refer to it later, which was very helpful, by the way, because there were several times when I referred to the transcript and looked things up or took links off it or whatever. So it's a very good program that is available on the web. You can get it. And the thing is, if we had enough people, you know, to man this thing and to talk to people, if there were many more of you, we could do that. So again, what it comes back to, it keeps coming back to the same thing, which is tipping cure into global consciousness. Because another thing that would have given Lori a better chance last night, even if she had never been doing this before in her life, would be if she had been seeing it on television for 3 or 4 years. And I'm not just talking about like an Oprah or a Dr. Phil. I'm talking about cop shows, dramas, where the cop is testing. He's getting a signal, you know, like these two cops are talking, and one of them says, well, you know, we'll send this out for DNA and see if it was him. And the other guy says, great, let's send it to the DNA lab. Hey, listen, test. What, is that his DNA? And the other guy goes, the other cop goes, I get yes. And the first cop says, all right, let's go pick him up now, and then we'll send the thing to the DNA lab. So if she had been seeing that kind of thing over and over in the movies and on television, magazines, everywhere, everybody doing it, everybody knows it's happening, everybody knows people cure things, then when she got cancer, she wouldn't have to be struggling so hard trying to figure out how to cure herself. See, because my concern about Lori, I don't care about selling Lori some subscription. I've seen too many people get subscriptions and not use them. And some of
But I'm
them,
saying again, we don't have the proper structure. Like in those days, we not only had a subscription list, but we had like a Tuesday night series and the Monday night series and the life games, and they had like enough stuff to keep them busy and immersed in it, you know, with real people.
that's what
So
Tony
people-
Robbins, yeah, that's right. Tony Robbins says he's into total immersion.
Yeah, like we didn't, like nobody's gonna, including myself, is unless they're really used to being a student, like Ross or Jen, are gonna go and do the website by themselves
You
always.
see,
Like
the
most people
thing about
have a
you,
buddy.
the thing about the people on this call is that you are totally immersed in this. You are into total immersion, and you will do this all day, whether anybody talks to you about it or whether I call you or whatever it is. You keep doing it. Greg keeps doing it. You know, Boots keeps doing it. Barb keeps doing it. You know, you all keep doing it. And even when you're not doing it, you're doing it. Somehow you got inside of it, and you're there. You're just there. And so for you, it's like it's on television all day. That's what it's like for you. That's why you don't get sick. You know, that's why, like, Ross, can you imagine how frightened some of the people at that school are? They've been told they might have tuberculosis.
I know.
They're terrified.
Yes.
And you're not,
I know.
you don't seem the least bit worried. Like, I'm looking at you, you know. You don't look worried to me. You look like you're just fine about it all.
You know, when she told us the story, all I kept thinking was, imagine like a regular group of people hearing this. Everyone would be going, "Oh my God!" You know, it's so horrible. And we're just sitting there like, "Oh, you know, great. No, just move it if you have it. It's no big deal."
I do want to mention to you that Greg's dad has had tuberculosis in his body for a long, long time, because I guess he was exposed during his early years, but it never manifests into anything.
Great.
He told me that.
I was a person who used to worry incredibly about my health, and the big change is that when I heard there was a possibility that I had tuberculosis, I told the lady at the school, well, it's good to know. I want to know if I have it, because it's much, much better to know than not to know. And I talked to her about immunity. She's not doing it because she doesn't have a signal, and she makes a lot of excuses. But she told me that lots of the girls, of the students, were crying and were desperate. You know, and I can understand that, because if you don't have something like we do, you get desperate.
Well, you see, what we have here on the Cure team is a group of people who have a very grounded foundation. Like, you are very clear that it's real, that you can do it, that you've already done it, that you've cured things, you will cure things in the future, and you're probably pretty certain that nothing is ever going to stop you. Now, and this brings us to basically the end of our meeting. You know, I was sort of thinking in the last half hour of this meeting I was going to tell you the rest of that alternate ending of the Nate story, but I never got to. Yeah, you know, I was kind of planning on that. You know, but the thing is, I think that what we did in this meeting is groundbreaking, really, and I'm glad we did this. Okay, this was good, and also I'm learning. You know what? Something's happening for me, because I'm learning more about how to learn from you. Like, I'm learning about things I can say that will elicit things coming to me from you that I don't already know or am not sure of or whatever, and it's been working, because in this meeting you have said a lot of things that I needed to hear. So thank you for that, and for, you know, for basically thanks for your total immersion. You know, that's what we need, babies. Total immersion. And Barb, I am planning to try to reach you tonight and do our thing. Okay?
Yeah, I might be more busy tonight.
Well,
than I was
it's Friday
last
night,
week.
but you know. Well, all right.
Yeah,
Then
we'll see.
I'll try tomorrow night or whatever. You know,
Yeah, no, I'd like to. Yeah.
we'll get to
Or
it.
tomorrow morning. Or night. Okay, cool.
We'll get to it. And a Tuesday for Boots and Barb, right?
Right on.
Barb?
Roots. Roots.
Barb?
The three B's. Byard, Barb, and
Bob.
Boots.
Yeah, right. The three B's. Barb,
Bye,
Tuesday?
you guys.
Barb, Tuesday?
Ciao, ciao.
Barb?
Can I say something?
I gotta say goodbye.
I have a
Bye, you guys.
communication.
Barb!
Fellas wants to say something.
Barb,
Yes.
Tuesday,
Hold
right?
on. Yeah, yes, I'll be there Tuesday, sure.
Okay, just let's listen to Ross before we go.
Yeah, let's listen.
Okay. Probably on Monday I won't be able to be in the European prayer meeting anymore. I'm saying probably because I've been given a course, but I'm not sure I'll be able to go this Monday because I have no car. So if I find a car, I'll be teaching at school. If I don't find a car, I'll be home and I'll let you know.
So we just have to.
This movie was given to you by HUM, the World Ministry of Immunics, which enables you to cure medically incurable diseases. We also produce the Cure Drive in the iCollege of Immunics. This is the home page. And as you see here, the movie that starts playing automatically when the page opens is a 3-hour tutorial film, which underneath it is the beginning of a series of movies. If you click on these links, you go to another movie that's a continuation of the tutorial, showing different aspects of the things that people need to get into when they cure things. The movie shows many people curing things. You'll find complete cure tutorials on the home page. Under the group at the top is another, this is a video and text tutorial, and if you click on the link, you'll see it has 10 lessons, and you can click on each lesson and you'll see that the lessons are movies interspersed with explanations. And if you continue scrolling down the home page, you'll find a huge bank of movies of people curing things. Here's one of someone curing multiple sclerosis that you can click on and these play. Hopefully this one will play in a moment. There it is. So that woman cured PPMS and MS. Here you'll find people from every continent: Europe, the US, Asia, Canada. This woman cured shingles, and in this particular movie that's what she's demonstrating. And at the top of the home page you will find links to the cure meetings that we have every week. 9 p.m. New York time, Rome time 8 p.m. Underneath the cure meetings you'll find a link to Friend Me. It's actually Byard. I'm Byard speaking to you on Facebook, and you'll meet many people who are my Facebook friends there who have cured various diseases. Many of us have cured herpes, which is what I cured. Also there, if you have trouble getting signals, there is a whole bank of movies that focus on people who are just starting to get their first signals. Many of these people went on to bigger and better things, and you see them in other movies. But these are movies about their signals, how they got their first signals. At the very top of the home page, you will find above the masthead a link to the cure shows. and we documented people curing things on, these are on the, we did this on the phone. There are shows on about 75 diseases, and the diseases are listed alphabetically, as you can see. You actually hear the people curing these diseases during these shows. That's post-traumatic stress syndrome from 9/11, you know, the catastrophe. We have a show on that, and fever, somebody curing the fever, several people curing fibromyalgia, flu. We had a flu hotline, and there are many people. These people are actually curing flu, and the flu stops. It clears up during the 15 or 20 minutes of the call. It doesn't take long to cure the flu. Over here you have paralysis, parasitic parenting, Parkinson's disease. When you cure something, please join your voice with the voices of the many people who came before you by reporting your cure in our poll, which you can do right above the tally of the cures that people have reported is here at the top. And as you can see, there's a little link here. And if you click on that, you will come to a form that enables you to report your cure. This page is the hub of the Web College, and as you can see, there are detailed lessons on how to remove viruses, cure cancer. Here's a movie on the right here of a doctor who actually years ago cured the flu on camera. You'll notice that skill 1 in the hierarchy of skills is cure physical diseases. That's actually the easiest thing with this particular approach. And I've put a great many things in the hierarchy of skills that relate to curing physical diseases, such as ending trauma, working on your organs. Now, if we go into the recode your DNA, there are 10 applications or 11 applications, and recode your DNA is one of them. If we go inside here, what we see is a page with a huge amount of links. And then if we look at the links on the right, after the ones on the left which prepare you, these are the actual lessons. And you can see some of them. It might be hard for some people to see why blind installation procedure is related to recoding your DNA. And this is why we've put it in this application, so that it relates it in your mind. This is the reason the Web College is organized the way it is to relate things for you in your mind. And obviously there are a huge number of things, like if you're curing cancer or herpes or any medically incurable disease, it's obvious that there are a great many things that you have to learn. And they're different for everybody. You do not have to learn everything that's listed here. And in fact, cure is instantaneous. And it's always unexpected how it will come. Like, watch these women. They're going to give you a perspective. This is a good way to conclude this little overview I'm giving you here. Say, can I go to the 144th dimension? See if you get a signal on that. Can I go to the 144th dimension?
Can I go to the 144th dimension? Yes? I guess I can.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay,
Okay.
both of you go to the 144th dimension.
I'm taking myself to the 144th dimension.
Me too.
No stopping for gas on the 8th dimension.
I feel clear.
I feel less interested in anything below the 144th dimension.
Can we stay here all the time?
I know, exactly.
Well, I mean, this would take a lot of backstory, but there are some decisions that my family's making that I now feel clear about.
Yes, because when you have that perspective from the 144th dimension,
Yeah.
you simply don't care about anything as much.
That's exactly it. But I don't care doesn't sound so good.
Well, see, that's right.
But it's it. That's really
Not at effect.
When people hear we say we don't care, they go, "Well, God, that's sick," you know.
I know. It's a good thing.